Hello everyone and welcome to today's event, which will be our first event in the Oran CNCF chapter. Let me introduce myself. I am Ayub, a tech cloud slash DevOps engineer here in Algeria. With the help of one of my friends, Mohammed Walid Ughal, we are trying to build this community, the CNCF Oran chapter. For anyone wondering, Oran is the name of our city, better known as Wahran in Algeria. We intend to, our goal was simple, to make sharing knowledge accessible to everyone, whether you are an experienced, whether you are an expert, or whether you are new to the DevOps journey. We intend to do that by hosting meeting, webinars, trying to engage in interesting discussion, and talking more about the future of the CNCF and its projects, and eventually trying to host some in-person meeting here in Algeria. For today event, our speaker is Mohammed Abu Sa'b. Sorry if I am pronouncing it wrong. He is a principal DevOps engineer with over 12 years experience in the industry. So Mohammed, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Mohammed Awsa here. I am a principal DevOps engineer here in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, in a digital bank. And I am running this session with you guys. And it's my pleasure to run this. I have 12 years experience in software engineering in total. And I'm interested in CNCF ecosystem, cloud native applications, and all the tools they provide. And I recently published the Argo CD course in Udemy. That's it, briefly.
Okay, should we start?
Yeah.
I think you are sharing your screen. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, so in today's session, we will go with the essentials of Argo CD. So I hold CKA, CKAD, and CKS certificates for Kubernetes and other cloud certificates in Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure. And before diving into Argo CD, we have to take some introduction into GitOps because Argo CD is a continuous delivery tool that implements the GitOps principles. So GitOps in general implements the best practices of DevOps and apply it into the infrastructure. So we do infrastructure as a code and store all the infrastructure in Git repositories, whether it's Terraform, Kubernetes, Ansible, etc. And we collaborate together and do a change mechanism by doing some code reviews using pull requests with other teammates. So we make sure that our code is clean. And after that, we use CI/CD systems to validate and test and deploy our infrastructure by automated way. So before, admins or users was creating the resources of infrastructure using a manual way, whether it's CLI or web UI or web consoles. And this way we cannot reproduce the same infrastructure or environments again. And one of the bad practices as well, you might be storing your infrastructure code in Git repositories, but you still apply it manually without having the CI/CD in place to validate, test, and deploy it in automated way. And why we need GitOps principles and why we need the GitOps implementation in our organizations, because our infrastructure will be stored and versioned in Git repositories, and we will do the collaboration by code reviews, and then we will do the CI/CD for validation and deployment. And we will have improved security because we will limit the permissions for users and grant it to the CD system only to create the infrastructure resources. And because we are storing our infrastructure code and configuration code in Git repos, we can revert the bad version that is deployed and rolling back to the good version by, for example, using git revert. In GitOps, there are two models, and these models are valid. The first model is the push model, where the CD system will push and deploy the infrastructure directly. So it will take these codes from Git and deploy it into your infrastructure environments or for example, destination clusters, for example, for Kubernetes. In the pull model, there is a controller that track your Git code, the infrastructure code, and pull these changes always from your Git repos and sync it with your infrastructure environments or destination environments. And both models, as we said, valid and considered as GitOps implementations. For Argo CD, what is Argo CD and why Argo CD? Argo CD is a CNCF incubating project that is a GitOps-based continuous delivery tool for Kubernetes with a pull model design. So Argo CD will have a controller that track and pull the changes from Git repos and sync it and deploy these application changes into a destination cluster. In this case, it's a Kubernetes cluster. And there will be a common question that's been asked a lot, that is Argo CD a CI tool? No, it's not a CI tool because CI tool is needed to do the build and unit tests. So you will have GitLab CI or any preferred CI system, Jenkins, Azure Pipelines, GitHub Actions, and your application will be stored in a Git repository. You will have these tasks or jobs to do the build the code, do the unit tests, then build a new Docker image, then publish, of course, this Docker image into the preferred registry, such as Docker Hub or JFrog Artifactory or anything else. And these tasks considered as CI tasks. It's not Argo CD responsibility. Now let's compare Argo CD with the traditional CD systems. In traditional CD tools, it's implementing you can call it the push model. If you want to implement the GitOps with push model, you can use traditional CD tools. Any tool you preferred will do these tasks, as we said: build code, do the unit tests, build Docker image, publish it into registry. And after that, you have a new Docker image with a new tag. You will update your Kubernetes files, such as the deployment file, with the new image tag in your Git repository. It's commonly these files will be stored in a Git repo. And after that, the same tool will do the deployment into your Kubernetes cluster. So it will use kubectl or Helm clients to do the deployment into the destination cluster. So the whole flow, the whole workflow will be handled by this CI/CD tool. We have to note a few notes for this CD tool, any system, that we need to install the clients of kubectl or Helm in our CI/CD agents. That's first. And second, we have to grant the CI/CD agents the access, the needed access to deploy to our destination clusters. Probably we will configure kubeconfig. And third, we might need to open the connectivity between the CI/CD agents and our destination cluster. In such cases, it might be a security concern. For Argo CD, Argo CD needs a CI tool that do application code build, unit tests, also build the Docker image, publish it into registry again, and update the Kubernetes manifest with the new image tag. And this is the CI responsibility. After that, Argo CD will be deployed into a Kubernetes cluster and keep watching and tracking your Git repositories and sync these changes into the destination cluster. So it will pull the changes and sync it into your application in your destination cluster and namespace. So for example, let's take this as example. We have a Git repository that holds our application manifests, such as we have deployment, service, ingress. It's a common files, whether it's plain YAML files or a Helm chart or a customized application, does not matter. And we have a destination cluster that has the Argo CD deployed in, and our application is deployed with the tag version 1. Argo CD is tracking the changes in our Git config repo. Our CI tool build a new Docker image and publish it to registry and update the deployment file with the tag 1.1, for example. Argo CD, because it's tracking this Git repository, discovers that there is a difference when it compares the actual state with the desired state, so it will update the application into out of sync. What we can do and what Argo CD can do, it will sync the application and bring these changes and bring a new version of the application to 1.1 and make the application as synced. It will be synced with your Git config repo. So another good reasons to use Argo CD, it has state visibility. So in this picture, we have the UI of Argo CD. This is the view of application details. We have the visibility of last sync status, in which you can see it's successfully synced or it is failed for some reason, and you can view the reason of the failure. And second, you can view the overall application health, whether it's healthy or not, and the current status of the application between the actual state and the desired state in the Git repository, whether it's synced or out of sync. And you can see real-time updates, such as the creation of resources or the termination of the resources. So because Argo CD implements the GitOps principles, we will use Git as a source of truth of our applications manifests. So developer and DevOps engineers will update the Git code only, and Argo CD will keep your cluster in sync with your Git repositories and give you a real status of what is deployed in the destination cluster and namespace. And because we are using Git, we can do easy rollback. If any bad version is deployed, we can revert back to the right version. And it will provide us with more security. We can grant only access to Argo CD to do the deployment instead of granting CI/CD agents or people this access. And because all our applications is stored in Git repositories, all the manifests or the definitions, we can easily do a disaster recovery solution and deploy the applications into another cluster easily. Now let's explore the Argo CD architecture. Argo CD consists of three main components. This is the core components of Argo CD, the API and web server. All the components will be deployed as pods. And the second component, the Argo CD repo server, and the third component is the application controller. For the API and web server, it's the only component that you need to interact with. It exposes an API and UI for you, and it's responsible of application management, such as application creation or update or delete of your applications, and application operations if you want to sync or roll back the applications, and the creation of the repos and clusters in Argo CD, and the authentication. So the UI and the CLI and the REST will contact this component. Actually, it exposes gRPC and REST APIs if you want to use it for integration with external systems. For the repo server, it's internal service that is responsible of cloning the Git repositories of your applications and generating the Kubernetes manifests for your applications that will be deployed into the destination cluster. The third component is the application controller. It's a Kubernetes controller that keeps monitoring your applications that is running in the destination cluster and compares the state with the desired state in Git repos. So it communicates with the repo server to get the manifests from Git repositories, and it communicates with the Kubernetes APIs of the cluster to get the actual state, so it compares the differences. And also it deploys the application manifests into the destination clusters as well. Because it's monitoring the applications, it can detect the out-of-sync apps and take corrective actions if needed. And there are more components in Argo CD. Redis is used for caching, and Dix is an identity service that you can configure it to integrate with external identity providers, such as if you want to log in with GitHub, for example. And the last component is the application set controller. This is very useful if you want to automate the generation of Argo CD applications. It's very useful if you want to generate applications into multiple Kubernetes clusters and create those applications for multi-tenancy, for example. Now let's explore the core concepts for Argo CD. The first concept is the application. If you want to deploy an application, you have to define an Argo CD application that consists of two simple things: the source of your Kubernetes manifests, what is the Git repository URL, in which branch, and at which path, and where you want to deploy these manifests, into which cluster and into which namespace. And Argo CD supports multiple tools, Helm charts, and customized applications, and of course, Kubernetes plain YAML files, and JSONnet files as well. Another core concept is a project. Using a project in Argo CD provide us with a logical grouping of our applications. Suppose we have application 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and all of these applications considered and related to project 1, for example. We can select these applications to be related to project one. Actually, project selection is mandatory in Argo CD. So by default, Argo CD creates a default project for you, and you have to use it by default, or you can create your own projects. So projects is useful when Argo CD is used by multiple teams, and it can provide us to allow only specific get sources as a whitelisted sources to be used by a certain project, and it can allow the applications also to be deployed into a specific clusters and namespaces. So we can whitelist the clusters and namespaces that will be allowed to be used as destination clusters. And also it can allow specific resources to be deployed, such as you can only deploy deployments and stateful sets, etc. And another concept is a desired state and the actual state. The desired state is what is described in Git repositories, the manifest that we described in the Git repos. And the actual state is the running application in the destination cluster and namespace, what is actually running. And Argo CD has the sync operation. You will see a lot of the text is written in everywhere in the UI. Last sync status, sync, out of sync. So what is sync? Sync is the process of making the desired state equal to the actual state. And the last concept is the refresh and compare. Actually, we say that the application controller keeps refreshing and monitoring your application, the desired state with the live state. So it discover what is the differences between both the Git repos and the live cluster. And Argo CD actually doing this we're doing this refresh every 3 minutes by default. You can configure this to be less or more. And for the installation options, you can run Argo CD into any Kubernetes cluster. So you need only a Kubernetes cluster, whether it's a one node cluster or multiple nodes. So you can use Minikube, Docker Desktop, Kind, Rancher Desktop, or a full cluster, whether on a premises or in cloud. For the options that we have, you can deploy a non-highly available setup, and this is suitable for evaluation or dev or testing environments. In this setup, Argo CD will deploy only one pod for each component. And the second option, we can use the highly available setup, and it's recommended for production. And you need to note that you need 3 worker nodes for this setup to achieve the high availability, because Argo CD will distribute the pods into different nodes to achieve the high availability. And the last option is the light installation, the core installation. This is suitable if Argo CD will be used only by administrators. It will not be installed with UI and API. And by default, it will be installed as non-highly available. For the privileges options, Argo CD provides 2 options. The cluster admin privileges, where Argo CD will have the cluster admin privilege to access the cluster that runs in. This is suitable if you want Argo CD to deploy applications into the cluster where it's running in. If you want Argo CD to deploy only to clusters outside of the running clusters or the where Argo CD running in, you can use the namespace level privileges where Argo CD will only deploy applications into external clusters. For the installations of Argo CD, you can use YAML manifests. So you will use kubectl, install these YAML manifests directly, and choose the namespace. And you can use a Helm chart as well to install Argo CD. And you can use the customize as well. So once we install Argo CD, we want to access the web UI, for example, and the API. So in order to do that, by default, Argo CD is not exposed with external endpoint. So we have three options to access the Argo CD API and UI, which is called the Argo CD server. We can configure the Argo CD service to be as load balancer, and this is maybe suitable in cloud. Or we can use an ingress resource. If we have an ingress controller, we can create an ingress resource that points to the Argo CD server service. And if we are running locally in a dev machine or local machine, we can use the port forward to the Argo CD service. For creating applications, let's explore what Argo CD application is. It's a Kubernetes resource object that will be deployed and stored in etcd. It's defined by two pieces, as we stated. You need the source of your manifests that will be described by the Git repositories, and the branch, which is called revision, and the path of your YAML files or Helm chart or customize, and where these manifests will be deployed. So it's called the destination. So you will select the target cluster and the namespace. And you can create applications in Argo CD declaratively using YAML, which is the recommended way, because we are implementing all of these GitOps principles. We should use the declarative approach and store these application definitions in our Git repositories. Also, we can create applications using web UI, also using Argo CD CLI. Let's explore how to define an application declaratively using YAML. So we have a CRD called application that's using the API groups of Argo CD project. And we have in metadata to name the application and select the namespace of Argo CD. In the specification section, we have to define, as we stated, the destination and source. For the destination, we should choose the namespace and the server. In this example, this is the destination cluster. We will deploy this application, for example, in the local cluster where Argo CD is running. For the source, we will just tell Argo CD where is our manifests, the repo URL of our application manifests, and the target revision, which is the branch, or you can use branch tag or the head symbolic reference, and the path of our manifests. As stated previously, we have to choose a project. By default, you can use the project default that is created by Argo CD. Now we will go and create a sample application and see this in action. We will define an Argo CD application declaratively using YAML and use this manifest in this Git repository and deploy it into the local cluster in my machine. we will apply the application using kubectl and view the application and sync it in web UI and see that the resources are created in our cluster. Okay. I will share my entire window.
Mohammed, there are
Yeah,
some questions you want to.
yeah. Okay.
But there is one question from Sausan. Is Argo CD support multi-tenant mode? Which is best implementing for GitHub by branches or tagging or SHA commit? So she's asking what is best for branches. Do you use a tag
Uh,
or use SHA commit? And
yes.
if Argo CD is multi-tenant.
Yes, for it depends on which environment. Actually, in development environment, you can use directly maybe symbolic reference like head or a branch directly, maybe a main branch. But in production, it's better to use tags or even more safe ways like commit ID. It depends on which environment you are running. So in dev in general, in production, use tags or commit IDs, and in testing or development environments, you can use symbolic reference, head, or direct branch name like main. This is the question, or is there any other part of the question? Did I answer this?
This is for this question, but there is other questions. There is a question from Eduardo.
There is another part. How does Argo CD supports multi-tenancy for 1000? And then you can go ahead, Walid, with the second one.
Okay.
I think multi-tenancy can be supported by using application set. I think you can group your applications by projects, by namespaces. If multiple teams is using the same Argo CD instance, then we can use application set. I think we have to explore this deeply, maybe in later sessions. But it can be
Thank you.
implemented. Yeah.
Thank you. So for the next question is from Eduardo. He is asking for Argo. Is the same thing if I use customize Helm or YAML file? Is automatic
It is.
detection or yes? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. For detection, actually, it has auto detection feature. So if you did not specify it in the application exclusively, it can detect if this application or if this path has a YAML file or a customize or a Helm chart. By default, Argo CD will look if it has a chart.yaml. This is if then it detects it's a Helm chart. If it has a customization.yaml, then it's a customized application. Otherwise, it will be considered as plain directory of YAML files. Any other question?
Thank you. Yes, there is other question. Okay, so does Argo CD have a dashboard to monitor deployment state into different clusters?
Yes, I think we have a dashboard, and you can view all the states for all applications. Now, I will share my screen and view it directly. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, just I'm trying to. Did you see my screen now? Did you see the dashboard of Argo CD? Hello?
We can see your screen.
Yeah, this is the Argo CD homepage. After you log in, if you have some applications deployed using Argo CD, you will see this dashboard where you can see that all the applications is synced. You can filter what is synced, what is out of sync, and where all these applications is deployed. This is the destination cluster. This is the namespace. This is the repository URL of this manifest of this application, and the path of our manifest in the Git repositories. So yeah, this is the answer of the question of the dashboard. So it has a nice UI. Argo CD has a nice web interface to view or create or even delete or update applications and projects as well. If there is no more questions, I will go ahead with the demo.
I think we can go with the demo and answer the other question at the end of the session, after the demo. It will be better, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So I will stop the share and share the entire screen. So we can view the VS Code.
You need to share your screen, yeah, Muhammad.
So
Okay.
okay. Now I want to deploy the application that exists in this repository. This is our application manifest that consists of deployment as and a service. So it has a YAML files, 2 YAML files, and this repository is a public repository, and I will deploy it into my local cluster. But before that, I want to talk about that I have already created an instance of Argo CD. It's very easy. As stated, you have to deploy only the YAML files of Argo CD, just kubectl, deploy these manifests, and you have to wait maybe 3-4 minutes until the pods are running. And after that, you will port forward as I did. I did the port forward. Now, as you can see, I port forward to the service of Argo CD server into the right port of the service. Now I can see that Argo CD is running in my browser using localhost 8080, and I log in using the initial admin password. So the initial admin password, you can get it by running. For example, I will create another instance here. I will get everything. So I will get the pods first, as you can see. So we have all the components: application controller, application set, Dex, notification, Redis, repo server, and the Argo CD server. If you want to get the initial password for the admin, you have to get the secrets in Argo CD, and you will see there's a secret called Argo CD initial admin secret. You just need to view it, and there will be, sorry, I did not mention the secret here. Yeah, you need just get the password and convert it from base64 into text, plain text, and log into Argo CD. So now I want to deploy this application, as we stated, into our Argo CD instance here. So I have defined this application using YAML file. So I define the kind application. So it's an Argo CD CRD application, and I will name the application as guestbook in the namespace Argo CD. I will deploy it into my cluster in this machine. So it's using the local service name of our local cluster. And we'll deploy it into this namespace. And in the source, I'm telling Argo CD to use this Git repository and this path. And our manifest will be in the master branch. So this is the case in this application. And in the sync policy sync options, this I'm telling just Argo CD that if the namespace guestbook is not there, please create it for me. So now let's go, and I have prepared this. So I will apply this application to YAML using kubectl. Now, as you see, that application is created. If I go to the web UI, I will see that the guestbook application is created and it's out of sync. By default, manual sync will be auto sync will be disabled. You can enable the auto syncing in the application if you want. Now it's a manual sync, so we will do this sync for this application. So now you'll see that these resources are created. The current sync status is synced. The application is healthy. The last sync's result is okay. As you can see, the result, it synced the service, it synced the deployment, and all are running. So this is a very simple demo to use Argo CD. So if we go here now and let's change something here, and I have to log in, sorry. Okay. Excuse me for this. I will do it quickly. Yeah, I will increase the replicas in this deployment file. Let's say I will increase it to 4. Okay, I will commit the changes. So I will go to the application here. As we said that Argo CD will keep monitoring the application and it will refresh the application every 3 minutes. And instead of waiting, you can do a quick refresh. So Argo CD is telling you that the application is now out of sync. What is out of sync actually? You can view it here. The deployment file is out of sync. You can view the differences between the live manifest and the desired one by UI. So we can go in the bottom of this. So it discovers that the replicas in the actual cluster is 2 and the replicas in Get is 4. This is the differences between the actual state and desired state. We can do quick sync. So now it will create more replicas and 4 pods are created. Now we can have more questions to answer. If there is.
Thank you, Mohammed Abu Sa, for this demo. So, and for this fruitful session, we can see that GitOps is the new way how to do the CG. Even in the telco field, we see that many projects now are based on the GitOps methodology, either using Argo CD or Flux. So before just moving to the question, we shared a form. So in the comment we will find the form. So please fill the form. This will help us to improve our session and to know what to do for next session, and even for Mohammed to. Actually, there is a small feedback for Mohammed to improve the session for the next, and there is also a voucher for the Udemy course. So
Yeah,
now, go ahead.
yeah. I just want to inform the attendees that I have published a course for Argo CD and Udemy with this name, Argo CD Essential Guide for End Users, with a practice, and will be a free voucher for everyone once you fill the feedback form.
So now let's move to the comments, to the question, sorry.
So,
So we have a question from Muhammad. Can be integrate Argo CD with the EKS to deploy node for app?
Can be integrated Argo CD with EKS. You can integrate Argo CD, as we said, into with any Kubernetes cluster. So you will install Argo CD in EKS, AKS, Google Kubernetes Engine, GKE, locally, Minikube, anything, and start deploying your applications. It works anywhere.
Thank you. So we have another question from Eduardo. He's saying this high availability is a multi-cluster or just multi-node? Multi-node.
It's just multiple pods and multiple nodes in one cluster. Multiple instances of Argo CD components running in multiple nodes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Nordin. Can Argo CD be integrated with the EKS managed node or with EKS and Fargate?
I think Argo CD works anywhere in any Kubernetes cluster.
Okay, thank you. Another question: does Argo CD requires agents to run on worker nodes in a cluster or any required on the control plane?
It will deploy the pods in worker nodes only, not control plane. It will deploy only pods in worker nodes.
Okay.
And another question from Juicy: how Argo CD managing secrets? Actually, Argo CD will not manage your secrets. You have to do it yourself. You can use GitOps based secrets and store it in Git, such as using sealed secrets. This is, for example, or use an external secret store such as HashiCorp, HashiCorp Vault, or even Cloud Vault's AWS Secrets Engine or store, I think its name, or Azure Vault or Oracle Vault. I don't know. Yes, Argo CD did not manage your secrets. What does prawn option do exactly? Sometimes we face different type of errors, but I select the prawn option before syncing all should resolve smoothly. Yeah, the prawn option will clear your and delete the resources in the destination cluster if it's deleted in Git. Actually, for safety, Argo CD provide this feature. If you, by mistake, for example, deleted a deployment file in Git, Argo CD will not delete the resource in destination cluster until you enable the pruning or you do manually pruning. So pruning will clean your resources that is deleted in Git repository. Can you change the pipeline with various different tools, and what are the best practice recommended tools in prod to look stable? Can you change the pipeline with various different tools? Can you rephrase the question? What is the recommended tools in a prod environment to look stable? I don't know if you want to use any CI tool for your pipelines. It does not matter for Argo CD. Argo CD will look at the Git repositories. It does not care about if you are using any tool for pipelines. The source of truth is the Git repositories. If you want to use any pipeline, any tools, GitLab CI, Azure Pipelines, GitHub Actions, Jenkins, or anything else, you can use it. How to apply observable image for Grafana or with Argo CD can linked. If you want, if I got your question correctly, if you want to observe and monitor Argo CD itself, Argo CD provides metrics for all components: API server or Argo CD server, application controller, and the repo server. All has endpoint, a metrics endpoint that you can scrap these metrics from Prometheus and view it in Grafana dashboards. If you go to Argo CD documentation, you will see metrics page. You will get the details there. Does Argo CD tell us the real state? Yes, definitely. We see it in our demo now. It will show their real and actual state, and it will show you the desired state, and it will show the differences actually, and it will tell you if it's synced or out of sync, and what actually is out of sync. Can I store as a project within K8s or OpenShift cluster? It has to be in separate server. You will install Argo CD in a namespace in Kubernetes or OpenShift. It does not need to be in a separate servers. You just install it as any other deployments, any other tool. Just to create a namespace for Argo CD and install it using YAML or Helm chart. Just it's a couple of pods and services. It's a 5 or 6 pods only, and some services. Can we use Argo CD update image and production from OpenShift registry and Argo CD? And very thanks for question. It takes me a lot to understand Argo CD. You are welcome, Sausan. Can we use Argo CD update image? Actually, I don't use Argo CD. Did you mean Argo CD image updater? I'm not sure if this is the question. If you can rephrase it, we can go next question. If Sausan rephrase the question. I recommend you to use YAML. Use UI or CLI only for fast evaluation. I personally use UI for viewing the dashboard, or viewing the applications, just to view. And for real projects, and for example, in the organization I work on, I define everything declaratively using YAML. And I use UI personally, not CLI. You will use just normal steps. You will build the Docker image and publish it to registry and update your Kubernetes manifests in your Git repositories with the new image tag. This is simply whether using Jenkins or GitLab CI or any CI tool. In the course, there is a sample to do this, but not using Jenkins, using GitHub Actions. There's a sample where we combine and automate GitHub Actions CI and Argo CD. Most welcome. Most welcome. Most welcome. Actually, Argo CD can do, not Argo CD, Argo project. They have several projects. Argo CD is part of their projects. It focuses only on continuous delivery. They created Argo workflows that can be acting as CI system. You can use it as CI system. But it's a different project called Argo Workflows. What's the best alternative? Personally, I did not try any other tool. There is a Flux, I think, but personally, I did not try it. Maybe, yes, there is Rancher Fleet as well. Yeah, Flux and Fleet.
I don't think there are any more questions. If someone want to ask something. There's another question.
Okay. There is a communication way in Udemy. You can ask questions, whether it's a private message. I will respond directly. It's in Udemy platform. They have a communication way.
Please let us know if we miss any question.
How to promote from one environment to other, best practice recommend. Actually, there are a lot of ways to do that, and there are a lot of details. Actually, in the course, there is maybe one video. I mentioned this. There is a flow that I suggested for this promotion, that you can promote from dev to test to production, and what are the appropriate way to do that. Actually, you can update your you will have actually manifests per environments, for dev, for this, for test, for production. And for dev, you can commit directly and update directly. But for example, for staging and production, you can promote and change the manifest by pull requests. So you have to implement GitOps by, or operate by pull requests. Just check the video in the course. Maybe you will have some, the flow will explain this.
Thank you, gentlemen. Walid, Muhammad, your surname is making us
Muhammad Ziad.
Muhammad Ziad. Yes.
Ziad Abu Sa'.
No, Muhammad Abu Sa'. Okay, it's difficult to say the Ain letter in English. Abu Sa'. Thank you, and thank you for the providing the course to everyone. And congratulations to the people who have won the AWS voucher. I hope that you use it efficiently. And I would like to promote an event that is coming in October. So congratulations for the chapter, Wahran, Oran, Mina. And I think you started really strong with GitHub straight away. Yeah, version control and everything. I would like, so basically CNCF chapter Morocco, CNCF chapter Mina, and CNCF chapter Riyadh and CNCF chapter Mina, the global one, are participating on a Kubernetes Community Day as part of the GITEC events. There will be like 8 events, DevSlam, AI, Web3, you name it. They are under Dubai, the WTC, Dubai World Trade Center, and under the sponsorship of His Highness and the Minister of AI in UAE. And it will be around the day of 13 or 14. We'll send out a call for speakers soon, and we will be asking for people to nominate speakers that can come. It will be an in-person event, and it will be the largest event for developers in the Middle East, if not one of the largest events worldwide. You know, Dubai, when they do something, they do it big. They don't really do anything small. And Thank you. I just wanted
So
to send a message. Yeah,
just
go ahead.
just to mention, so it's 13 or 14 October. You didn't mention the month.
Yeah.
So
So
yes.
basically, we are targeting a complete day, 14th of October, but we will see if we need to do a full day, Kubernetes Community Day, 14th of October, or part of the Dev Slam half day on the 13th of October. There will be lots of celebrities coming, and I mean celebrities like Guido Ross, basically the Python creator, Justin Garrison from Containers from the Couch. There will be famous and popular DevRel coming to speak. So it will be a big event, and there will be exams, and there will be workshops, and there will be lots of swag. I mean, and it's going to be a great event. It's going to be great 4 or 5 days event in Dubai. We will post it on our LinkedIn pages and Twitter. So keep following us, and best of luck with your Argo CD studies. Any questions? Just go to Muhammad Abu Sa. Don't come to us.
You are welcome. Anytime.
Oh,
All right. Thank you, you guys.
thank
You rocked it, really. Thank you.
Thank you guys for
Thank you.
attending. Thank you, Muhammad Abu Sa, for the session, and big thanks to Walid, who helped us to organize this first session, and of course Ayub. So just to mention, we have two way of communication. We have our CNCF Oran or Wahran community, which is our front page where we will share about sessions and other stuff. And we have a group where we will it will be for the community to share knowledge, informations, useful links, anything. So this is the real definition of community is about sharing. So don't hesitate to share in the group and to join the group. So Ayub, if you have anything to add, go ahead.
I think that's it.
That's it. Anything to add, Muhammad Abu Sa?
Thank you. Thank you for joining and watching.
Thank
Just
you.
don't forget the feedback form.
Yes. So we will share again the form in the comments. So don't forget, please, to fill the form. So it will help us a lot to organize the future sessions and also to get the voucher for the course. So thank you for attending and see you soon.
Good luck. See you.
Till next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Salam.